Welcome to Health, Wellbeing and Lifestyle, where experts in the field inform, educate and inspire the community to be healthier, more balanced and live the lifestyle they love. Our first guest today is Jacqui Grant. She's an NDIS business consultant and empowerment coach. Welcome to the show, Jacqui.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Jacqui, what's the secret for NDIS providers to be successful?
One of the big key points to being a success is to understand your scope of practice and to ensure that those services that you want to provide are actually part of a participant's plan. Now, one of the things that happens is that a lot of people decide to be a sole trader in the NDIS business and they think, oh, I'll just get an ABN, I'll get some insurance and that's all I really need. But they don't understand how their services can provide value to participants. Basically, under NDIS, and one of the places to check is the NDIS pricing arrangement on their website, is service providers can be nurses, they could be allied health professionals, support workers, now that is the biggest one and what most people have in their plan, psychology, there's even transport, meal prep, and then there's space for respite, short-term accommodation, and then specialised disability accommodation. It's a long list, I understand. And one of the keys for people to have that success for their own business is to know exactly where they fit in with the plan and the value and the importance and that it's reasonable and necessary for the participant. So reasonable and necessary is one of the things that NDIS talk about a lot, and it means that the service that the person has is relevant to their disability and it is necessary. With the scope of practice, one of the things that we currently find, especially with businesses that come to me, is that they don't realise, like, they have a qualification such as a hairdresser, which is great, it's a great skill, but when you want to be a support worker, do you understand what that means and the risks to being a support worker? Because you're providing care and services, so helping someone showering, dressing, shopping, it doesn't sound like a big deal, but when someone has a disability, they are vulnerable, they're open to risk, and if you don't understand how to do a risk assessment, if you don't understand some of the things that are required for that person or even their disability, for example, they may have an acquired brain injury. Now, you need to understand behaviour and how temperament, they might be aggressive, they might withdraw. So understanding those disabilities is really important, and if you don't have that lived experience, then working as a support worker can, in some cases, cause harm rather than what we want, which is empowerment and support and encouraging choice and control for the person. Quality of life.
Why is business compliance so important?
Well, in Australia, owning a business, whether it's a company, partnership, there's consumer law, there's ATO requirements and insurance requirements, and NDIS have their set of requirements as well. Now, with that, when you have your paperwork, so your compliance is documents, policies and procedures, and you not only have them, but you use them, you are able to ensure that if there is ever an incident, and let's face it, incidents happen, we're dealing with people, you know exactly what to do, who to go to. Some incidents are reportable to NDIS. So if you don't have your business compliance in place, your business plan, financial plan, you could find yourself at high risk of major problems, and nobody wants that. Now, just to go a little deeper into that, with NDIS, you can either be a NDIS registered service provider, so that means you put an application into NDIS, you have an audit, and you have to understand national practice standards, NDIS practice standards, and then you wait for your registration after your audit, and you will be audited regularly. It's part of NDIS compliance. However, the way NDIS is, you don't need to be a registered NDIS provider, and that means that you don't have to put in the application and you don't have to be audited. But people sort of think, well, if I'm just a sole trader, I'm not NDIS registered, I don't need documents, policies and procedures. Well, technically, best practice would indicate you do, because you should be doing care plans. You should be looking at how you can support your participant with their goals. And that's what a care plan does. It understands the person's needs and how to help them achieve them to be the best they can.
What are some of the tips and advice you'd offer to businesses to increase participation and engagement?
So one of the biggest things I see everywhere, and one of the biggest questions people ask me, so social media, I met a lady in the cafe the other day and she's like, oh, I want to grow my NDIS business, how do I do it? And so one of the first things I asked her was about her social media. What presence do you have? Do you have a website? How do you know that you are the right person for the people reading your Facebook post? What is your message and how clear is it? So having a really good business plan that incorporates a marketing plan can help. A website that is really clear and it makes it easy for people to go, oh, that's the service I want. And it builds trust. And of course, understanding your potential participants' hobbies, interests. What do they want to do? What do they want to get out of their plan? What's important to them? So understanding what that looks like a day in their life and how you can best help them achieve that. The other thing is, as a business, network. Get to know other businesses in your area or even nationally, and attend things like networking events, to attend education sessions where you've got those common grounds of, like, you might all be learning about epilepsy or acquired brain injuries or anything, autism, things like that, where you are likely to meet either other service providers and or people that have somebody in their life that has a disability, or it could be the person themselves. So really branching out and getting to know a lot of different people. And finally, word of mouth, reputation. Like when somebody says, oh, Mary was great. She showed up on time. She was reliable and she listened to me. Sometimes that is the best way to get additional business and grow.
Thank you, Jacqui, for such important information. If you'd like to know more about Jacqui Grant and what NDIS service providers can do to be successful, please go to her webpage on our website, healthwellbeingandlifestyle.com.au. And after the break, we'll have another interesting guest with another interesting topic.